Hi, my name is Nancy Pahana, and I'm the director of UQ's Age-Friendly University Initiative. This initiative is part of the World Health Organization's Age-Friendly Society. As part of an age-friendly society, we really want to educate students about aging. In my course, Applied Gerontology in the School of Psychology, we do just this. So why don't we go now and talk to some of the students about what they've learned about healthy aging, about ageism, and about how to help older adults with mental health issues and with issues arising from dementia.
So I think psychologists can improve the age friendliness of society by being advocates and trying to let the general population know, just kind of what can happen when people age, help them have a more nuanced understanding of the experiences of older adults, so that people can be more aware that older adults are people too, and have their own kind of unique preferences and needs, so that we don't just make assumptions about what older people can and can't do.
And I think there's definitely a place for psychologists to contribute to media messaging, to put out messages like today we were learning about dementia-friendly communities and what could assist people with dementia out in the community. So a lot more of that being involved in the public messaging.
I think psychologists also have a role to play in making sure that the great amounts of research that are being done in this space are making it out there in a public way, and that people are actually learning about the really great research that psychologists are doing in this space, and that can also help how we tackle some of the challenges that older adults are facing.
And I think that's a really good point, particularly when it comes to policymakers, service providers, and people with kind of funding and decision power. We do have a unique voice to kind of influence that area.
Yeah, I think from my own experiences as well, speaking with some older adults, I think there's perceptions around, stigma around mental health, that it's, to do with a lack of resilience, or to do, I'm not feeling depressed, I'm just feeling a bit down. So I think there's this idea of, I'm not, I think there's this idea that you have to look a certain way or be a certain way to be depressed or to be anxious. So I think that some of the stigma that's still quite prevalent around that. So they're still viewed quite negatively.
And I also think there is definitely still a stereotype that poor mental health is a part of aging. It's a natural part of aging. It's a difficult part of aging to avoid. And I think that stops older people looking for the help that they need if they are coming across some of these issues. So I think that in reality what we do know is that actually that's not the case at all, and that older adulthood, particularly if people don't hold negative views about aging and themselves, can be a time of happiness, contentment, and a whole new meaning on life.
I think some of the stereotypes that are projected by the actual healthcare industry itself as well play a huge role in terms of access to psychological support for older adults. So I think there's a bit of a stereotype that older adults aren't interested in engaging in psychological support or therapy, that really their issues are confined to physical mobility issues, for example. When in reality we know that's not the case. We know that there are older adults who are really keen and are really invested in supporting their own sort of psychological development and seeking support, whether it be for depression or anxiety or any other range of disorders, but they're not confined to this box of physical problems and that's all they are.
If someone comes to a GP or a neuropsychologist with the question of, is this dementia? The important part of getting a full comprehensive workup is that it really helps rule out other explanations for the experience this person is having. So we understand that a lot of different things can contribute to cognitive decline, particularly as people age. Some things might be healthy aging, not engaging in social activities with people, mental illness, and and many other things that need to be considered when we give a diagnosis of dementia. Dementia is a condition that carries a lot of choices that need to be made, and we must make sure we are confident in our diagnosis, and that's one of the reasons why a comprehensive workup is essential.
I think another reason a comprehensive assessment is really crucial when it comes to diagnosing dementia is just the number of areas that can be impacted. So even when it comes to understanding one's identity, their role in their life, how they relate to others, how do they make decisions day to day, their memory, their organization, there are so many things that can be affected that are not necessarily communicated just by the label dementia. So by having a comprehensive, in-depth assessment, we can get a really good understanding of what's actually happening for that individual and make sure that we accommodate appropriately.
With dementia, usually there are accompanying symptoms, so things like anxiety, even depression, that can benefit from traditional psychotherapy. So what we often see with dementia is that they can have sleep difficulties, they can have difficulties with anxiety, and we do have evidence to show that traditional psychotherapies can help alleviate these symptoms, and through that also help them provide them a better quality of life as a result.